All right, what's going on, everybody? It's Mac. So I went ahead and I stumbled on a collage of Anthony Fantano, the needle drop, doing basically ranking tier wise all the Kendrick and Drake beefs songs. So I thought that'd be a cool thing to kind of react to real quick. Shout out to, I'm not the originator of this collage or this compilation, um, and I'm butchering this guy's name, but um, Passa Mintier Zero. I can read. It's an interesting collage of letters. So yeah, so Anthony Fantano, widely respected music critic online, YouTube specifically, goes by the Needle Drop. Pretty cool. You can check out his content on his page. So yeah, let's see what he thinks. See if I agree with it.
Ups as well from Drake, which is his response to Like That, which personally I think is respectable as a track. I think Drake does a pretty good job, even if like the shots against Kendrick and everybody else are a little surface level. He has multiple people to respond to on this track, not just Kendrick, but also Weeknd, Metro Boomin, Rick Ross, whose diss track I'm not even going to talk about in this video because it sucks and it's boring. Plus, a lot of what he tries to get at on that song is illustrated better by Kendrick on the songs I'm about to discuss. But still, again, even if we're not talking about a lot of depth and lyrical wit and substance on this song, it's still catchy. He still effectively fires back at a lot of different people on a single song, and it's really Drake's best showing during this whole back and forth that he had going on with multiple people at the time. It's getting kind of crowded, but I'm going to throw this in.
So let's talk about that for a second. So was this push-ups? Is he saying is he saying Family Matters? So if this is push-ups, he says push-ups was the best showing. That's kind of odd because to me, Family Matters was better than Push-Ups. But I don't know.
The B tier as well. Also, we have to, of course, discuss J. Cole's diss against Kendrick on 7 Minute Drill, which lyrically is trash, instrumentally is trash.
Jesus Christ. I think he's being a little harsh. I don't think J. Cole in any instance has been, well, besides maybe I'm Grippy, is lyrically trash. That was the only time I've ever heard J. Cole be like, I can refer to him as trash, is Grippy. But, damn, can't get the camera right. Yeah, 7 Minute Drill. I mean, 7 Minute Drill wasn't bad. It was just the situation. It was just a bad situation for Cole. It was just very awkward. Cole knew better than to get involved in that. And then Cole mistook a friendly spar for actual disrespect. And there were some things that Cole said in 7 Minute Drill that were actually disrespectful. To say, Kendrick's albums are boring. And I think that's taking it beyond rap, in my personal opinion. Now you can say it's not your cup of tea, or you might not like something or whatever. Damn, I'm trying to get my camera right. Not like something or whatever, but I don't know, man. Cole's a rapper's rapper. So for you to say, shoot, I'll be honest. If you ask Drake his honest opinion, I bet you $5 he wouldn't say Kendrick's albums are boring. Drake can talk all the crap he wants, but Drake is a rapper's rapper. You know what I'm saying? Drake raps. He understands what's what. So I'm pretty sure if you put his foot to the fire, he wouldn't say any of Kendrick's albums are boring or whatever. Just like how Kendrick was like, classics, you don't have one. Kendrick knows better than that. Drake has a couple. He may have a couple classics. I know Take Care is considered a classic. And in my personal opinion, so far gone, like I like a lot of Drake's earlier work. I don't like Scorpion, For All the Dogs, Drake. Like I feel like he's trying too hard. But anyway.
And even J. Cole was embarrassed by the song when it came out, and you can see why, because clearly his heart was not in this song. And on top of it, calling T-Pap boring is just like absolutely not true and silly. I feel like
see, that's what I'm talking about. Like certain things, like as an artist, like better. Like, you know better, man. You don't call. You know, I understand that you're trying to like make a diss and stuff. And again, to J Cole's credit, I think it's one of those situations. He just got caught between a rock and a hard place, and he had a lot of pressure on him to respond. And you know, he just let the pressure ultimately get to him. That's why I feel like he knew he was going to look silly up there apologizing for Kendrick or whatnot, or apologizing to Kendrick at that at his festival. But he did it because you know he made a pretty big mistake. So
like he tried to play the same angle that Jay did against Nas, and like, oh yeah, you don't come out with that many albums, and when you barely have any hits, but like that's just not really true with Kendrick. Yeah, it's going in the E tier because it should have never existed. Next, Drake's final contribution to the recent beef that he had with Kendrick Lamar, The Heart Part 6. Like J. Cole, it was also pretty clear at the very end of this track that his heart was not really in this beef anymore at this point.
that's another thing too. Drake. So Drake took he took a comment. Dave Free left. I think it was like on an Instagram post. An Instagram post that like Whitney Kendrick's partner had put up. He put this post or whatnot. Dave Free, and then Drake took that and made this whole thing. I need to find a clip of academics saying that this is like there's a somebody said somewhere, I think it was like in a Facebook group or something like that, the academics said that all of this was just fake or whatever. That Drake made up the whole thing or pretty much went to the internet to get his information about Whitney and Free and Kendrick, which is hilarious. That's a very Drake thing to do. But yeah, that album this artwork is always hilarious to me.
Point, Drake's name is being completely dragged through the mud in terms of the people he keeps around him, in terms of being accused of being a PDF file downloader. It's very boring. It's very drab. He just kind of reiterates a bunch of stuff he said about Kendrick on.
Now, don't get me wrong. The beat on the Heart Part 6, that is hard. That's hard. Like that beat, I don't know who made that. I need to look up who made that. But that beat was cold. That beat was cold. And what's his name? Drake. Drake was actually rapping. It's just the content. He had already been out, strategized, somewhat embarrassed. Yeah, he's. I mean, it was kind of already over.
Family Matters, and it's just very underwhelming. I'm putting this also in the E tier. Family Matters was also Drake's other major contribution to the Drake and Kendrick beef, and again,
now I feel like Fantano's being a little bit disingenuous here. Family Matters was to me the contribution from Drake. Like this was Drake's biggest punch. This was the quote unquote the red button, as everybody kept referring to, like revealing, quote unquote, Kendrick may have domestic violence accusations against Whitney, or domestic violence instances against Whitney. Whitney allegedly being pregnant by Dave Free, Kendrick's manager, so on and so forth. He's bringing up the point that of Kendrick's fake wokeness. So I mean, it was a lot of business. And then also, too, he goes to address a lot of different artists. He addressed A$AP Rocky. He addressed Rick Ross. I know he addressed The Weeknd and Cash, Future to an extent, Metro Boomin. I mean, this was pretty much supposed to be like the knockout punch for Drake. But unfortunately for him, this was quickly. And then it is funny, too. Who said that? I don't know if it was DJ Head. Somebody said that. But Drake went through all that trouble. He went and made a video. He didn't take time out. You know, he did these 3 beats or whatever, the 3 beat switches. This is his best body of work in terms of a diss track. Probably the best body, since back to back. And Kendrick just snuffed it all out. Meet the Grips came out, 40 minutes later. And people, until the next day, I'm pretty sure they forgot about Family Matters, with just the shock factor of Meet the Grams, which was, to me personally, it was genius. So
I feel like this is the moment where Drake kind of went wrong. On this track, he tries to out Kendrick by copying from his homework and going through multiple phases and trying to do the whole "I'm going to expose a bunch of personal stuff about you" thing. And I feel like it starts strong, but it doesn't really end strong musically and flow wise, even if some of the most scathing accusations on the track land toward the very finish. Also, very bad idea to sort of like,
Yeah, yeah. To me, this track says a whole lot about Drake too. The fact that, even, let's just say for the sake of argument, that he did get that information off the internet. The fact that you would roll with that and saying that, your manager is the father, the actual father of your child, um, that's crazy when you think about it. That's crazy when you think about it. And then the truth can be the same. The same thing can be said on Kendrick's side, saying that, you have another child, so on and so forth. But some of the stuff Drake says, and obviously I'm looking biased right now because, yeah, I rather Kendrick have won this battle than Drake. I relate more to Kendrick than to Drake. But saying that, when he, especially going back to uh the heart, when he misunderstood Mother I Sober and said, Kendrick got molested. And then the fact that you're gonna make, in this day and age, you're gonna make fun of him for that. Pretty much, it's pretty much what he was doing. He was pretty much making fun of him for getting molested. Then on Family Matters, he just, the whole Free and Whitney thing. It's just Drake's a character.
uh, divide up his focus across multiple people on this track, even though it's really Kendrick. He should have been focusing on 110% throughout the entirety of the song. But again, rather than doing something like this, which is not really his strong suit, I feel like Drake should have gone back to basics, back to back basics, and actually try to hit Kendrick Lamar with a song that would have outdid him commercially and would have just proven to be catchier. But we really didn't get that, and unfortunately we just kind of got this very kind of wishy-washy, inconsistent misfire of a song that again tried to do what Euphoria did but didn't quite end up landing. I'm feeling a C tier placement on this one. We'll throw it over here toward the start. We also have the
That's crazy. So he actually got Family Matters under the heart. That's interesting.
tailor-made freestyle, which is the one where he tries to AI copy the vocals of Tupac and Snoop Dogg, which conceptually it is like,
That was stupid. That was stupid. Yeah, and I think karma will come back for him um, in the future because I think people are going to start AI. Drake is. I mean, AI is just a problem in general. Just in my personal opinion, AI is just a problem to society in general. But I think Drake's about to learn a lesson in how detrimental it could be to his personal successes because him being the biggest rapper, him being the most popular rapper, he's probably the most likely target to be AI frauded. So I have a feeling, a lot of people are going to be using, his voice, to do a lot of music that he's not doing, and he won't be able to get paid or take credit for it. So I think this is going to be one of those karma moments.
kind of a god tier psychological warfare chess move, but in terms of execution is just very tacky, is just very annoying, and makes it pretty horrendous and awful to listen to. Also, kind of a bad look in terms of how it aged, because this was all an attempt on Drake's part to go to response out of Kendrick, and boy did he get it. We'll throw this down in the F tier. All right, couple more left. We have Euphoria over here, which is Kendrick's massive 6-minute diss against.
Euphoria is my favorite. That's my favorite piece of work out of this whole entire battle. Euphoria. Um, it's very Well, for one, because it kind of tells the story of this battle before the battle even really gets to its peak. I want to say Family Matters, Meet the Grams, that kind of area. That Family Matters, Meet the Grams, 616, Not Like Us is the peak of the battle to me. Pretty much the end of it, the crescendo, right? So, but Euphoria kind of told what was about to happen all the way up into you know those tracks. And to me, it's just like the beat selection, how the song was constructed, the sampling, the rapping. Um, it's just to me it was a to me Euphoria isn't just a great diss song. It's a great song in general. It's a great song in general, and I think it speaks a lot to who Kendrick Lamar is as a person. Euphoria. It's one of my favorite songs of his. Period. To be honest with you, to be honest with you, I end up playing Euphoria more than Not Like Us. I played Not Like Us a little bit, but I end up listening to Euphoria because it strikes personal chord with me. A lot of things that he says in there.
Against Drake, which I think is really impressive. I think is really well done. This track really got people to start appreciating lyricism a little bit again because it got so much attention and so many replays because people were kind of going back over it again and again and again and reading into the wordplay, reading into the double and triple entendres, really doing their research on the track. I like the multiple phases of the song. It's really like Kendrick brought back Section 80 era Lamar on this record and totally killed it in the process. There are some moments where I feel like dragging it out to the length that Kendrick did does make it a little bit of a tedious listen or a lesson.
No, not for me. Like Euphoria it was really, I don't know. It just does something to me. Euphoria is just, it's a pleasure for me to listen to. Like I can listen to Euphoria multiple times in a row. Um, like I already said, from the beat selection to what the subject matter, the content of what he was saying, it's just the totality of the body of work is one of my favorite pieces of work from Kendrick, just in general. And I don't know if you guys watching and heard, but I forgot the gentleman's name, but he's in Kendrick's camp. And he was saying the original version of Euphoria was over 12 minutes, something like that, 12, 19 minutes, something. It was long. Like it was long. So I'm curious to hear that version. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm pretty sure Kendrick was like, wait a minute, I could chop this up into kind of stepping on the work. Like I could chop this up into multiple songs. You know what I'm saying? Like I could chop this up into multiple songs. It doesn't necessarily have to be one long song with all this material. So yeah. But dang, that's crazy.
Lessens the impact of it a little bit, but you can't deny the fact that like Kendrick had a lot to say about Drake, and he was clearly motivated by a lot of personal hatred and passion on the song for sure. I'm feeling an A tier placement on this one. Let's move on to Not Like Us, which is Kendrick's final contribution to his beef with Drake, at least as of right now. And yeah, this was pretty much his attempt at out Draking Drake in the midst of this beef. Kendrick is the one who ended up nailing down the catchiest of all the songs that were released in the midst of this beef. And he does it with this crazy, danceable West Coast style instrumental with Mustard on the beat. He just outright calls Drake a PDF file downloader multiple times on a crazy chorus. God damn, it's so infectious. God damn, it's so replayable. God damn, it's so freaking viral. It's insane. Like there really is an argument for this being the catchiest diss song of all time in the history of diss tracks. And Kendrick did really like showcase some real versatility across this beef with Drake. The only downside of this beef ending is
So so with Not Like Us, my thing is that when I first listened to Not Like Us, I was like, okay, yeah, this is cool. But kind of like what I was saying when I was on the show with Sin, I was watching people's reactions to it, and it's very, very catchy. It instantly gets you to moving around, like when it comes on. then he's kind of rapping on there. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not. I don't think it's his best lyrical showing in this battle. Like I said, I think Euphoria was better, and I think 616 he was rapping better than Not Like Us in 616. But with the different variables, with the sing along phrases, with the way he kind of worked alongside the beat that must have provided the hook. It's very, very catchable. It's very, very social media friendly. Pretty much copying what or echoing what Fantano said, but he's right. I mean, all of that played into the strategy of this particular song being as popular as it is, And I know it released at number one. I think at this moment he's down in like number 5 or something like that. It could have been cool if it could have stayed at number one, but it wasn't really any marketing. It was just Kendrick just dropping it. It was Kendrick dropping it, people playing and reacting to it, clubs playing it. There was no video, there's no, major label support of it. And the fact that it was able to reach number one in that factor was crazy. In that particular manner is insane. So shout out to Kendrick.
Is that we didn't get as many Kendrick tracks as we could out of the whole thing, because clearly he had a lot of tracks stashed, considering the pace at which he was dropping them. We're throwing this one over in the S tier, and finally we have Meet the Grams over here as well, which I'm just kind of making very tiny because the personal effects of the photo. We're going to throw that in the S tier too. I'm just going to quickly say, and I have talked about this at length before, and I feel like I'm going to die if I go any longer doing this video because it's really been a marathon. But I feel like this track conceptually is like one of the most demented and sinister diss songs of all time. Like you're really writing a detailed, scathing, nightmarish attack against your opponent in a series of.
So here's the thing with Meet the Grams. So Meet the Grams, which I find extremely interesting, that people have all these very condemning, like just very dark phrases and words and descriptions of Meet the Grams. And it's just and Meet the Grams isn't necessarily anything fabricated or anything, not fabricated from the standpoint of over embellishment. Like it's not, basically Kendrick just showed a mirror to Drake in terms of how he looks at him as a man dealing with his demons, or his secrets, his lies, And I think people kind of understand that there's nothing more terrible or terrifying than your demons or your personal vices, the things you don't like about yourself. There's nothing more terrible than that, or terrifying. And the fact that people kind of make it seem like it's almost a horror movie, and the only thing he did was just talk about what Drake is doing as a person. Like, these are choices you made. Like, you chose to not claim your kid or not, own up to your kid once you were, confronted with the fact that you had one. You're the one that's making it easy to hit you with these, allegations. You're the one that's, being referred to as a bad person because, you can't control your weaknesses, or you have personal vendettas against people that you don't necessarily want to confess, but you want to take action against people, and it's you seem very egotistical, self-centered, bitter. I mean, he painted him in a light that I think a lot of people are going to be attaching to Drake for a very long time, and it's already kind of affecting his business dealings. I know his deal with Nike has been suffering a little bit since this beef started, largely in part because of what Kendrick had to say about him in the public. So yeah, I mean, it's only terrifying because it's not the truth, but it's a realization of who a person actually is when nobody's looking. And sometimes there's nothing more terrifying than that. I cannot get my camera right for
of letters addressed to their family and their loved ones and those who are closest to them. That is just on another level of sadism and psychosis that I just feel like no other diss track has been on up until this point. I mean, for sure, there are very aggressive and threatening diss tracks out there, but the mental games that Kendrick is playing on this track, especially with it sounding as freaky and as scary at the very end as it does, to me is again, it's just like it's another level. It's just another level of insanity. So yeah, Kendrick, in my view, has laid claim to two of the greatest diss tracks of all time pretty handily. And I know there are probably other diss tracks that could be brought up, could be discussed, but I've been going on for.
So yeah, so we'll stop it there. For the most part, I do agree with Fantano as far as his assessments of the diss tracks. I feel that Family Matters probably should have been, given a little more respect. I think Push-Ups is a little too high. Push-Ups is not over Family Matters in no way, shape, or form to me. Family Matters, arguably, you could put Family Matters, anywhere from B to A tier. I think if Family Matters would have been written about Rick Ross instead of Kendrick Lamar, I think Family Matters probably would have been in the A or the S tier. But because he dealt with an opponent that was so well prepared and was able to strategize in a way that Drake couldn't keep up with, I think the loss made Family Matters, the perception of Family Matters as a diss track change from here on out. So I think Not Like Us, if it was me, I would put probably Not Like Us in like a B or an A tier, and then put Euphoria. Talk about putting Euphoria up closer to that A or that S tier. I think did he already? Where is Euphoria? No, Euphoria is A already. But I mean, putting Euphoria in more in that S tier. I think Euphoria has more depth to it from the standpoint that Kendrick pretty much Babe Ruthed this whole situation. He pretty much called his shot, and then everything played out exactly, pretty much to the T, as what he said was going to happen. To be able to dictate your opponent's moves, you tell him what he's going to do, and then he actually follows suit right into your counters. That's incredible when you think about it. And then Not Like Us gets moved down to A because Not Like Us is more so kind of more so I can do you better than you can type of shot across the bow. So, but in terms of this list, I mean, his list looks pretty accurate. You got Pac in there, got got Ice Cube in there, No Vaseline, Nas, Ether, I'm assuming. Story of Adidon, Lost Ones. Let's see what else you have in there. You got 50 Cent in there, you got Big in there. I mean, it's a decent list as far as what I can see. I'm not going on deep into that, but I appreciate y'all. I'll holler at y'all later, man.